What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dot himself. Want to go over a quick video in regards to the difference between independent contractor and employee. I get people that reach out to me all the time about, hey, little D, man, should I be a W-2 employee? My company's doing this and that. I don't have that much volume of business going through. Should I be an independent contractor? I don't want to pay payroll tax or anything like that. And they come with question after question after question. So what I want to do right now is just give you guys a quick live tutorial. I made a video about this subject before, but I always try to just go back on some of my past info that we put out, and just reshare it again in regards to that. But again, this is a quick rather tutorial in regards to the difference of being an independent contractor or being an employee. Okay. Again, before we get started, you guys know I am Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Right now we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. But the main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel, where we have over 400 videos covering business operations, business finance, business management, whatever you do, regardless of what platform you're tuning in on. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube and subscribe to the channel to take advantage of all the great information we have coming down the pipe. Listen, guys, you got any questions, anything like that? Feel free to chime in and everything. But again, tonight we're having a quick discussion in regards to, the difference between an independent contractor and employee. The only problem of it is, guys, I'm going to say this, that people on the the TikTok and the Instagram, you don't have the privy of seeing. I'm doing actual slideshow presentation. But if you can follow the information what I'm going over. But if you look at Mr. Short on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or what's that? LinkedIn, you'll be able to see the slideshow presentation. But regardless, go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, and you'll be able to see the information. Now we're just getting started, guys. Zoom out of this to the side. Right now, again, we're having a discussion regarding the difference between an independent contractor and employee. Now, if you have any questions while we're going over this information, feel free to chime in, because, again, I get tons of questions. People ask in regards, should I, issue a 1099? Should I be a W-2? What's the pros and cons and stuff? So this information is what we're going over. Again, I do have the actual, because I can't do it on Instagram or TikTok. If you're able to, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You'll be able to follow the live feed. But again, that's what we're going over tonight. I'm doing this presentation again, showing the difference between being an independent contractor or employee. But I will be taking your questions regardless of what platform you're coming on right now with that, okay? So with that said, one of the first questions is, what's an independent contractor? Independent contractor, we know, is someone that works for a business but is not an employee, and the taxes are never withheld as an independent contractor. Basis where we're looking at what's an independent contractor, and the difference between that and an employee. The independent contractor is told what you need done. The employee is told what they need to do, right? Basis of just looking at it. Again, we're saying that, look, there is no, you can't tell an independent contractor, the process you want to go by. You just tell them the task you want done, and they're supposed to do it from a contractual standpoint. The employee has to do it the way that you design the process you have to do it, okay? I know a lot of times people will ask me that, especially being a small business or a mom and pop, because we know employees, that you have to have a payroll tax that are associated with it. The issue comes out, sometimes people want to avoid employees and just do independent contractors because it's easier to do that. The issue comes with that is, if you're ever involved in any kind of audit, depending on what type of business you have, it'll come back and bite you in the butt, because you have people that are actually doing tasks as an employee, but you're paying them as an independent contractor. And any kind of audit, be it from the local, state, federal government, it'll be very uncomfortable, because, again, once you start explaining the tasks they do and how they do that task, and it's like, listen, theoretically, they're not a contractor. These are your employees, because you tell them what to do and how to do it, and that will just void that, okay? But what we're going to do in this tutorial, again, we're going to go through the pros and cons and give you guys some insight. But this is the time. If you do have any questions regarding it, please, please, please bring those up now. Let me go over something right quick. I'm going to put in a little music. Everything there. Going that again. Tonight we're talking about the difference between the independent contractor and the employee. Feel free to ask any question that you guys may have. We start looking at what's a 1099 contractor. One of the different one in a nutshell, we start talking about what's a 1099 contractor. It's the same thing as an independent contractor, right? So theoretically, you hear both of the terms used out, and you like wonder what's the difference between the two. Independent contractor, same thing as a 1099 contractor. The 1099 simply refers to the IRS tax form that needs to be submitted to an independent contractor on an annual basis. You know, you take your 1099, take it to the individual that's preparing your taxes, i.e. you or your tax preparer, and that information is show how to report your income for that particular contractual moment that you have. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I had a little glitch going with the Instagram. Any independent contractor paid more than $600 during the tax year should be issued out of 1099. Again, any independent contractor that makes more than $600 during the calendar year should be issued out of 1099. Okay, that's very important to keep in mind. That being, if you're at one side, you're being the independent contractor, you should receive a 1099 if you made more than $600. And as a business owner, you have to make sure that you issue out a 1099 to the independent contractor. It's very important, guys, very important teaching moment that each, as a small business owner, you will require each independent contractor, even the independent contractor, that a W-9 is filled out. The W-9 is to protect you. And that's pretty much just listing who the independent contractor is. That's where you put in your tax ID or social security number, name and address, and the actual business will keep that on file. So at the end of the year, when you do have to issue out, if or when you issue out those 1099s, you'll have that information on hand. If a person gave you fraudulent information, you can't control that, but you'll at least have that proof that, hey, listen, this is what they gave us, because that contractor has to sign that form, and you'll keep that on file. So make sure that you have a W-9, okay? Google it. You can also, we have videos on there on Mr. Short Dollar as well, exactly what a W-9 is and how to fill it out. If you're a small business owner, make sure your contractors fill that out, okay? But make sure they fill out a W-9, okay? And even if you're an independent contractor, that's to protect you as well, okay? Remember, guys, everything's two-way street. It's not an issue of like, hey, we don't want this particular things. You know, I don't want my money being sent this way or being reported that way. All this information to protect you on both sides, okay? So that's a 1099 contractor. Here are some quick examples of a 1099 contractor. Maybe an accountant, a building contractor, a painter, designer, landscapers. Guys, keep in mind, when we say a landscaper, I want you guys to understand, just because an individual did some work for you, you can't just issue out a 1099 and take it to your tax person want to write it off, right? You can't, anything that's done for you personally for you or your home, that's not a tax write-off, okay? And everything. We got AW18. Hey, appreciate you tuning in. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. The anything that you've done personally, you just can't write that off. Every year I get a whole bunch of shoe boxes of stuff that, hey, I did this around my house. I got a new roof. I got this. We bought some furniture. You can't write that stuff off. And you got, Mr. Flim Flam, ma'am, and they tell you they can write it off. Please run. Okay. If it sounds too good to be true, more likely it ain't. Okay. So you need to make sure you avoid that kind of stuff. So when we start talking about dealing with these independent contractors, this is not something that you can deal with individually, right? This is if you have a business attached to it. I want to make sure we're on the same page with that. We got to make sure that we're functioning as a business, because you're itemizing things like that has nothing to do with that. So when we start talking about examples of independent contractors, these are individuals that your business contracted out, right? Accountants, building contractors, painters, designers, landscapers. Keep that in mind, okay? I just want you guys to understand that it's a difference between what they do for you on a personal basis, what they do on a business basis. And this is pretty much, we're only talking about what's done on the business level, as far as those independent contractors, okay? Get to this next one. Yeah. What's the difference between a 1099 contract employee? We just discussed that earlier. And 1099 contracts are part of the contingent workforce. We mean contingent workforce, just in case, if needed workforce. Like if a particular project or assignment needs to be done, that's when we need to do that. What I got? Andre, page 439. Should I put a new business under a corporate, a DBA. I don't know if you misspelling it, but or a DBA. I would say this, in regards to anytime you regards. So this answer will be able to answer that. And the question is asked to me. This is one. Andre Page 439 follow me on TikTok. The question is asked: should I put the new business under I'm thinking a corporation or a DBA? I'm thinking that's what you're asking. This is the best answer I can give you. There is no right way to do it. It all depends on what you come to the table with. What type of business you should I? Corporation should I put business under a corporation as a DBA? This is the best answer I can give you. No one should ever be able to give you an answer with any involving an entity. Just say this is the best way to do it. Everything depends on what's going on. How you want to cover your money, cover your taxes, cover yourself personally, and everything like that. And that's done on a case-by-case basis. What I would suggest to you, go to on my YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. I did a whole video on DBAs. That's doing business as. How they register with your local municipality, states, however you want to register DBA. Look at that video. Explain the DBA. You can go Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Go on the search part, the search tab, put in DBA. Look at that video, and I'm pretty sure, because I did probably like a 20-minute video explaining DBAs, the proper way to choose if you need one or not. Look at that video, and I think that video will answer your question, because I don't like to give holistic advice to say, hey, this is what you need to do for a corporation, this is what you need to do for an LLC. I need some background information of what you come to the table with, what type of business, what you're trying to do, how you want to protect yourself, how you want to move forward with everything. And that's why I like to roll when I give out advice. I'm an accountant. That's why I say I don't give out holistic advice. And the best thing I can tell you is go to the YouTube channel, check out that video on DBAs, and I think it'll give you a lot of insight in regards to different options you will have with DBAs. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you just say this is the best thing to do, but I think once you look at that video, it'll give you enough insight to help you in the right direction. And if it doesn't, I got all my contact information on the YouTube channel, as far as, the office number. If you want to book an appointment to talk, all that information is on my YouTube channel in the description section of the video. And that's for anybody. But you got to go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. All the information is there. Okay. Like I said, it's over 400 videos. But if you do the search, you quite welcome. But go to the YouTube channel, hit on the search on the YouTube channel, put in DBA and that video. I did that video, I think early in the year or last year. But it was extensive. I explained DBAs, when you can apply them, when be a good time to use them, when probably not the best time to use them. And I think that give you enough insight to answer your question, okay? Anybody else got any questions? Now, I appreciate you tuning in also. Okay, we start talking about the difference between the 1099 and employee. Like I said, we know 1099s, contractors are part of a contingent workforce. That means it's ad-needed basis. So we start talking about freelancers, consultants, outsource or non-permanent workers, where you know that you might need somebody pretty much for a task or to do something, as opposed to need somebody to do something every day. Perfect example. I'm an accountant. That's why typically when you deal with, especially when you look at YouTube channels and social media, when you listen to accountants, lawyers, anybody that's proper credential, they're not going to give you a definite answer because we got some kind of recourse behind it. Sometimes, and I don't like to talk about people's video channels or anything like that. A lot of times people give advice because there's no kind of a recourse back on them with doing it. Yeah, but I'm an accountant. I've been in business. We're an independent firm. We've been in business. This is our 21st year in business. So check out the YouTube channel. I think it'll really help you out, give you good insight in regards to the question you had. And also my office and business information is in the description section with all the other social media platforms on the YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. But again, we start talking about when employees and independent contractors, again, everything's as needed, right? If you just need a task done, we just need to get this building set, we need to get these actual this project done, we need to just get a certain thing in motion at a certain period of time. That's when we start looking at getting independent contractors. We don't need to hire somebody and keep them long term for that, right? Long term, we start talking about somebody in admin, a person maybe continuous security at the office, things like that, where you may need somebody there on a day-to-day basis. Then we can looking at have them there as an employee, because we're telling them what to do, how to do it, when to be there, things like that. The contractor, we just need them to take care of what? A task, right? A task may involve several other things, but I'm trusting you to go paint this office, however, if you want to whack stroke up and down, side to side, diagonal, however you want to do it. I just need it done in the next 2 or 3 days, and this one I'm going to pay you. That's in theoretically, we're looking at independent contractors, okay? Let me make sure I ain't skipping the thing. I'm sorry, y'all. We're still looking at what's the difference between the 1099 contractor and an employee. Members of this group work, again, like I said before, when we start talking about a 1099 employee, they're working on a per project basis. Unlike employees, again, have a degree of the control over their work, but not the method that is done. Like we just said, employees must follow directions. Independent contractors are responsible for their own, okay? That's the difference, right? Again, I can tell you, if you work for me, the task, how I want it done, the process that I want it done. If you don't follow that process, I can fire you. The independent contractor, I'm just telling you what task I want done. Again, we can go as simple as the, painting the office. I want it painted. This the color, this the price. Bam, we're done. My employee, I got to tell them everything how I want it done. Now, again, we don't have to break it back, piece by piece for them, from my understanding. But if I have a certain process, a method that I want it done, that's how you have that conversation with an employee. But with a contractor, you're giving them the task. You guys negotiate the price and you keep it moving from there. Okay. Let's see where we at. Next slide. We're looking at still talking about the difference between the 1099 contractor and employee. Independent contractors are responsible for their own equipment, materials, and tools. These items employees are furnished with. Very important part. When you have somebody that's contracted out, that's coming in, again, you pretty much are giving you the task. Whatever you bring, your mop buckets, your paint brushes, your lawnmower, that's all yours. I'm paying you to do the task, right? My employee, I have to provide all that information with. And a perfect example of this, guys, I told you, if you guys follow me, you guys know I was a salon owner for 17 years. I had a salon. The concept that we use, and again, we got the course coming out in regards to how to start your own salon and barbershop. The concept we used was the model of, it was salon suites. And so theoretically, pretty much the way everything ran, that the stylists, they were pretty much, in charge of their particular suite. We didn't tell them how to build or anything like that. They just gave me basic rent. They kept it moving, they kept it moving how they were doing it. We knew, they knew the security measures, cleaning measures, and things like that. They were independent contractors. They paid for the booth rent, kept it moving, went from there. Now, theoretically, if they were employees of the salon, I would tell them how to build, what time to be there. These are the prices, and I will pay them off the way that I deem was necessary. You have some, and those you see your the commission-based salons and everything like that. The booth rent, theoretically, keep in mind where you look at two ways. If you own a salon or a barbershop, you ask the main question you ask yourself, who's your employee? This is from my owner. If the employee is the actual stylist or barber, that means we have that booth concept. If we say it's the people that's coming in, just the customers off the street, usually that's going to be a commission-based concept, and that's where what I'm paying my barbers or beautician a salary or a wage for whatever particular task they're doing, if that makes sense. So that's the thing about it. When you deal with independent contractors, they're providing their tools and equipment. You got nothing to do with it. Extend it goes back to what you want them to do. But if you're working for me, that's on me to be able to provide. Again, if those stylists were employees of the salon, if they were employees, I had to buy the gel, the dryers, the shampoo. I would have to buy that and stuff. Again, usually you can make more money as an owner when you do a commission base, but most stylists and barbers don't want to do that because potentially they won't make the money. They'll be able to make more money doing it if they're just doing basic booth rent. But we'll have that. I'll go back over there on the show in the future. I touched base on previous shows before. D. Jones, thanks for spreading the knowledge, and I appreciate you tuning in. It's been my pleasure. Another thing, employees receive benefits such as health care, 401k, vacation. Independent contractors don't receive these from the project from the project they perform. I tell you guys again, we started talking about that whole walk of entrepreneurship. I don't get PTO. I don't get sick leave. I don't have none of that stuff. So when I get sick, I'm just kind of SOL. So that's the thing. That's not deter you from being self-employed or be a business owner, anything like that. But keep in mind, those are the kind of things you're responsible for. Then the actual, if you're an employee, those things are usually provided for you. Not all jobs provide the same benefit measures, but theoretically, we know that particularly, especially if a job want to be competitive, they want to be able to provide some kind of services, i.e., health insurance, maybe some retirement, things like that. With doing it, but as an independent contractor, everything's on you. Okay, as far as how you're going to be able to structure it out, how you're going to pay for it, you have to acquire those things on your own. Okay. Yeah, this next one. Here's one of the questions. Is it better to hire an employee or a 1099 contractor? Good question. Is it better to hire an employee or a 1099 contractor? So we're going to look at several factors that will determine that. Again, if you're following us on Instagram or TikTok, you can go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube and you'll see this whole presentation there. So again, if something coming, if you forget anything about the discussion we discussed this evening, you want to go back and look, check out this video on the YouTube channel. That's where the hub of all the other videos that we have. Like I said, we have over 400 videos on the YouTube channel. Hell, I think we got over 500 that are posted right now on Mr. Short Dollar. I think Change Your Lives, my other YouTube channel, is a little bit over 4, but I think Mr. Short Dollar have over 500 videos. But when we start talking about is it better to hire a 1099 contractor or get an employee, several factors. And those factors are cost, benefits, workers' compensation, and payroll, right? So we start talking about cost. We're looking at the cost of it. You can look at it in terms of, most time it may be more cost effective to actual, you may pay an independent contractor more than you pay your employee over a shorter period of time, but in the grand scheme of things, it may be cheaper to do that, depending on what kind of project or task. If you actually have your employee doing something, you probably have to end up paying them, overtime, other things like that. Well, the totality of that may be more than if you have an independent contractor come doing that particular task. But you can do all the math on the front end to figure that out. We start looking at costs. We start talking about even benefits. Do you really want, somebody that's only going to be doing certain tasks out of the month? You guys know I'm a bookkeeper. So at the end of the week, when you talk about having bookkeeping going on, we only working 2 or 3 months for somebody. You don't need to have me getting no wage or anything like that. Just pay me for the tasks we're doing. Let me knock out those 2 or 3 hours of the month for you. Boom, we keep it moving. So we don't need any kind of insurance benefits or anything like that tied to us. Workers' compensation insurance, depending on how the relationship we just discussed in regards to if they're an employee, as far as you tell them what to do or you just give them a task, the work, you got to factor that stuff in, especially them being an employee. After 3 employees? God, I'm forgetting 3 or 8 employees. Please forgive me, I forgot the number off the top of my head. You have to have offer workers' comp insurance. You have so many employees on your payroll, and I apologize, can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but you have to theoretically have so many employees. Have workers' comp set up. You have so many employees on your payroll. All this stuff got to come in mind when you start looking at, especially we as a business owner, we always have to look at costs associated with doing certain things, right? And also we look at for employees, just payroll taxes. Now you're paying federal taxes on that. You're paying your Social Security and Medicare. You're doing state taxes. You're doing unemployment insurance. All these things got to be factored in regards we start taking on payroll. Don't avoid taking on payroll because of the cost. I would say that because again, that's something that can come back and bite you on the butt if you were supposed to be doing it. Period. If you're supposed to do it the right way. The right way may be an uncomfortable way, but you don't have to go back. When things get rolling, now you got to go back and set this stuff up or pay penalty fees associated on something that you skipped because you felt at the time you didn't have the money. Because I'm telling you now, when you feel like you don't have the money to pay for payroll taxes, things like that, you're really not going to have the money to pay for those penalties and fees to fix that, okay? Got a question. AW18. How will you do to pay back for an employee before payroll taxes is set up? how would you do back pay? Back pay for an employee before payroll is set up. When you say back pay is set up, payroll is set up. When you say back pay, that's why I probably need a little clarity with. Are you talking about if you're starting off at one point? Because the question is, how would you do back pay for an employee before payroll set up? The question you ask yourself: did you start off as an independent contractor and then went to a certain point, and then you start off paid on the table? Well, we don't never, again, you're talking to accountants, so we never want to do paid on the table. we want to look at doing it the right way. But let me say this to you: if you say we start payroll off, and then we're looking at everything prior to payroll, if they weren't on the payroll, they weren't on the payroll. But I will tell you this: if you were paying a person under your business account, and then you get payroll set up, but you still had money coming out your business account, you need to report it. Because in the event of an audit, they're going to look at, why was this money coming out for this person from there? At that point, you said, well, listen, they weren't, quote unquote, an employee. They were a contractor where you made 1099 from the point prior to it, and then start a W-2 employee going after that. But still, we want to look at the relationship, right? You can always get payroll set up here and make adjustments for the things that were done back here, and report that at a later. Say, hey, listen, we're starting up in, October 2022, but they did do some work. I just didn't have a payroll set up for September. You can report that. There may be a penalty or fee associated with it if you do the payroll. But you can also, at the end of the year, say there was a 1099 employee or 1099 contractor and do that. What was the question say? I was advised to do a 1099 for the money that was paid before payroll set up. But that's what I'm saying. That's an option with doing it from the point if you did it earlier, 1099 and then W-2 going forward. Again. And you want to make sure that you're looking at the relationship aspect. And I'm just tell you what I've seen happen, been in business 20 years, and it happens. In the event you have to lay somebody off, or they get hurt, workers' comp or whatever come up, right? And they no, my pleasure. But follow this advice I'm about to tell you, because I've seen this happen more than once. A person is working for you as an employee. At some point, they were 1099 prior to, right? You decide to get everything straightened out. Now they're an employee. In the event they were laid off and they were putting in the certain time that they were working, and it was prior to when you actually started legitimately having that as a W-2, that unemployment body is going to come back and run an audit on you, because you're saying, listen, I only paid them for this period, or they were just a 1099 during that time period. Make sure you got your ducks in a row, because what they're going to come by and do an audit. And when they do that audit, they're going to ask the task they did and how they did the task. If the relationship is deemed that they were an employee, you're going to have some penalties and all of the kind of stuff associated with it. I've seen that movie several times before. So I just want, guys to I'm going to tell you always the right way to do things. You got other kind of options, but I have seen that happen before. And you can just say, well, listen, man, I don't think they'll do this. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think nobody's been burned in business and seen it coming. You're not going to do anything in business like, man, I'm going to do this. And, I know this joker's going to turn around and do some shiesty stuff later on and report some stuff. That ain't going to happen. It's going to happen when you're not expecting it. But just be very, very mindful of that. Okay. So again, if you started with doing that, understand things. I always kind of think about the pros and cons of things that can happen with doing it. Because again, that whole stuff like that happen a lot more than you think. And you got to think differently when it's your stuff. When it's your business, you got to think a certain way, because again, everybody not for you. People might not necessarily want bad for you, but at the end of the day, people are going to look out for themselves. So them harming your business as opposed to them putting money in their pocket and them getting their unemployment and stuff like that, what you think they're going to choose? That's just something to keep in mind, okay? Just something to keep in mind with that, all right? Okay, other factors you want to consider. We start talking about if you want to choose an employee, choose somebody as an employee or being a 1099 contractor, expertise. How extensive of the knowledge. You can hire a person, as a contractor. You may, again, on a contractual basis. On the short term, it may be more expensive with doing it. On the long term, it can be not necessary, especially again if it's just associated with a particular task. You got the flexibility because somebody work for you, they know what they know. What you have is what you have. But you can go in the free market and find this guy here. Listen, for this particular project we're trying to do, he's one of the top leading people in the market. We already got Joe that works for us. Joe pretty smart. Joe's experienced, but Joe doesn't know what this guy knows. Let's get this guy this $2,000. Take care of this project so we can get this $20,000 system set up and everything like that, and we keep it moving. Because again, you're paying for the knowledge this person have, but because you got somebody there that can actually run it, but you need that kind of extra expertise. So these kind of things we're looking at. Also flexibility. When we say flexibility, that means you can cut it off and cut it on. Your employee works for you. Your employee works for you. They're there. They're there stuck. You may just need some seasonal help, right? You got your landscaping business. You got, you 1 or 2 guys. You paying them. They're your employees. You're doing it. You may got a big project. We got to go cut a tree down. We got to do an install on some sod. Any kind of thing that may be out of what you normally do, where you just flexible. I can add a little bit, pull a little bit from it. You may not necessarily need employees for that. You may just want, again, hire them for that particular task. When you start looking at these are the kind of things about what do I need the flexibility about? Because again, once we get them employees, we locked in. We got the payroll taxes and all this other stuff dealing with. We got, labor laws and stuff like that. All this stuff starts once you make them your employee, right? And again, it doesn't mean you don't need them, but again, we start looking at what do you need them for? If it's just something that you need to do at a certain point in time, do you really want to get locked into that kind of thing? Okay, so that's why we're looking at flexibility. Those outsourced tasks, kind of going back to expertise. If I've done several times where I've used some of those virtual assistants, some of the people like in the Philippines, with different tasks that I may have to do just from a cold calling standpoint, with using their actual very knowledgeable people, and it's a whole lot cheaper. Again, we're trying to get certain tasks done, but you can outsource certain things where you got, if it's an agency that can do everything a whole lot more effectively, efficiently, and cheaper than you can do, is something to think about, right? Because you can try to have, whoever working with you slam with all these different tasks, but how effective and how efficient are they going to be if you got them doing everything? Okay, so you got to be kind of smart about that. And going back to last part what we was talking about, it can be a whole lot less expensive in the grand scheme of things when we start talking about getting independent contractors. That one-time cost may be more. You may pay them more than what you normally pay a person that's working for you. But again, we're just talking about a short spike in time, right? Please, 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 please don't be so engulfed in being cheap when you're in business, okay? Analyze it. Do all that front end math. Get your consultant. You call somebody like me or anybody if you're not really familiar with doing it. But don't be so quick like, man, I got to pay this joker this, pay this joker this, or pay this joker that. Paying that guy to do that particular thing to get it done and get it started, and then you keep moving from there, can save and also make you so much more money as opposed to you trying to be Mr. Expert at everything. You go and mess something up, then you got to pay somebody to fix it, then you got to find somebody else to do it. Listen, be smart about it. And if it's nothing wrong with not doing everything, remember what I always say, guys. The business owner doesn't have to know everything, right? You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be an expert in accounting, expert in management. It is the business owner just need to know. He doesn't have to know a lot about a task. He just need to know a little bit about a lot of stuff. That's it. A little bit about a lot of stuff. That's all you need to be as a business owner. You need to know exactly probably how much time it needs to do this, how much it costs, and be able to do that math at the top. Remember, you working on the business, not in the business. Okay, remember that. Okay, that's how our thought process got to be. We can't be so stuck in trying to bring in $5 all the time, because that's what we're pulling in. If we bring in $2 or $3, we're freed up to make that expand, because that 2 or 3 that we're bringing in is actually bigger than the 5 if we're doing everything. I hope you didn't lose me with that. Sometimes when we get so caught up into making this exposed to this right here can sometimes be bigger than this, because we actually got so much so many people doing certain other things for us is way bigger, right? Keep that in mind, guys, because this in actuality can stunt you. So many times people are so stuck in getting all the money. The money that you get by yourself is capped. It's capped right at this. But you start putting people in place, got your contract, got your employees. This right here is 5 times bigger than all this, right? Because this is not going to grow no further than this. These 2 fingers are actually 100 of these, okay? Keep in mind that we can't get all the money. Do what you do best. Do what you do best and focus on that. And you get people in place to do things for you, right? And I'm telling you, that's the best way to be as a business owner. I'm telling you, you can't make all the money, but you can make a whole lot of money if you be smart, okay? Let me see where we at now. How independent contractors paid. Now that can vary. That can vary. It doesn't. You're not stuck at with tasks. You can pay them hourly, flat rate, or by the job. It's whatever you guys agree on. Hourly, flat rate, by the job. You got a contractor. You say we're gonna give you X amount of dollars an hour. We'll annotate it. It's a flat rate. You want to do it or by job. It's whatever you guys agree on. So it doesn't have to be per task. It's just whatever agreement that is reached. Between the actual owner and the contractor. That's how you deem be paying them. Make sure they sign a contract. Make sure they sign a contract again. Make sure they sign a contract. Okay, that is so crucial. Okay, make sure they sign a contract. And again, guys, like we said in the beginning, make sure you got a W-9 to cover your tail. Make sure you got a W-9 to cover your tail to make sure. Listen, this is what they gave us. This is what they signed. This is what they listed as their tax ID number, social security number. So at the end of the year, when you got to issue out them 1099s, you got that stuff in place. Okay. Am I an independent contractor? That's one of the things sometimes people ask themselves. Again, if you are paid to perform work for a business that is not that you are not employed by, then yes. Again, if you are paid by a business that you are not employed by, yes, you are an independent contractor. Okay, you got to make sure you know that distinction with both of those. Okay, again, guys, stay on track with everything. Stay on track. Consult with an accountant or a tax preparer. Not your cousin, not your buddy, not the guys at the barbershop, anything like that. And I know them brothers will show up. I know them ladies know a whole lot of stuff and everything like that. But go pay somebody. Have a conversation with them. I ain't saying you got to have them on payroll or whatever. But again, pay for somebody credible. Pay for somebody credible, because just like the gentleman just asked me in regards to the DBA with a corporation, get somebody skilled to be able to explain this stuff to you at the end of the day, because you got a recourse if a professional give you bad advice, right? You can go back to them, whatever. Your friend, my bad, or I didn't mean to, or that's what you mean, I didn't understand that what you were talking about. You can't do a damn thing with that. So we got to be, make sure, again, don't be so in a rush to save time or save money by not want to go meet with somebody. Make sure you talk to a professional. Make sure you talk to a professional with that, okay? Also, make sure you keep proper records. Make sure you keep proper records. You want to make sure you got a good filing system, i.e. physical, i.e. something digital. Make sure you got proper records with everything. And also make sure you file them at those quarterly and annual tax returns. You got to make sure you send that stuff in, okay? You do not want to get behind with filing no taxes and sending information off. And now the federal government got questions for you. People, you went through an audit. Somebody else got something going on. Then they say, we work for this person. We employ for now. You don't have your stuff together. You don't even want to go. You don't want to have them problems. You want to be successful. You want to make money. You want to do what you're doing. And in order for you to do that, you want to make sure everything on your end is taken care of. Okay. And that will get ready to conclude everything I had with our conversation. Guys, remember, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Take advantage of all the great information. Do anybody got any questions or anything like that before I sign off? Had a real good discussion with you guys. Again, we were talking about independent contractor versus an employee. I hope I answered most of you guys' questions. If I did know you came in late, go to the YouTube channel, put your questions on the comment section. I always check all my videos in the comment section. So if anything run across your mind later, I will come back and answer your question if you came on late. But definitely go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. Subscribe to the channel. We got a grant playlist. We got a business playlist, finance if you need. We got business loans 101, business credit 101. All these two different tutorial videos where I'm giving you guys my knowledge, for being in the financial services over 20 years. I got all these alphabets behind my name, a lot of great information, and all my credentials on there. My LinkedIn profile, the Facebook all that stuff is on there. So you guys feel free to check everything out. You want to verify anything, but definitely, guys, when we start talking about these independent contractors and employees, this is one of the things that I think bite a lot of small business owners in the butt, because they're mislabeling an actual contractor or employee rather as a contractor. And next thing you know, they got these penalties and fees, and they got to fix this and fix that. Then you got to call Deonte Burden and fix it. Because I would tell y'all, I'm a lot cheaper on the front end on the back than on the back end. Because when I gotta just create something to file something for you, it don't cost that much. But when I gotta fix stuff, it hurt a little bit. And I ain't on a person like that. So we want to make sure we're doing stuff on the front end. You got this free information. I ain't charging y'all for doing this. You got this free information that may take a little bit more time. It may prolong some things that you got to do in place, but you're doing it the right way. And the right way is always the best way. But listen, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel. Tomorrow we got the show. I'll be at the radio station at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I haven't finalized what I'm talking about tomorrow, but if you guys can notice, I don't have a problem running my mouth talking, so we'll figure something out. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Be safe. Love you again. If you have any questions that come up later on, make sure you go to the YouTube channel, put your question and comments in there, and I promise you I will answer your question from there. Take care, be safe, and I'll talk with you soon.